Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast covers everything tech. The hottest mobile phones, tablets, games. We review it, rate it, test it. Whether you're Microsoft or Apple, Android or iPhone, we'll give it to you black and white. The Golden State Media Concepts Technology Podcast.
Hello there, everybody. This is Jay for the GSMC Technology Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. So, we've got some more really cool tech news for you, so let's just dive right in. So, Facebook Messenger is something that I didn't use at first. I kind of resisted. I didn't like where it go, okay, you have to, add your, text message and Messenger become one. I didn't like the whole thing. I thought it was a whole pain in the butt. But eventually it turned out that, you could choose not to do this and still have Messenger. And ever since then, I haven't really had any really big problems with Messenger. Well, I guess supposedly some people have been. I mean, I haven't really noticed any problems with it. I can't say I've had any issues with it. I haven't, but I guess there must have been a bunch because Facebook has redesigned their Messenger. And it says if it succeeds, you won't really notice it even happened, which I'm not going to lie, I sure as heck didn't. So if they did redesign it, I didn't catch it. They definitely fooled me. They tricked me. I didn't see it coming a mile away. So I guess let's see here. So what does it say? Yeah, the changes are really minimal. There's fewer tabs. There's a color gradient thread background and a rounder logo. And I guess upgrading the old design, massive overhaul, that wasn't an option they wanted to do. So it says it took a lot of time for them to test it out and made sure they're not doing something that'll prevent people from doing things. So yeah, I guess starting a couple days ago, Messenger globally rolled out an understated redesign globally. But I guess over the next few weeks, it's going to start going out to more and more places. It says it's got a simpler interface with a lot more white space, a lot less redundancy, and a casual vibe. Now, of course, it also lets people know that the old features are all still available. I guess they're just not as prominent as they were before. So one of the new features, as I said before, there are several color gradients you can use to customize specific chat threads. Okay. And if you rapidly scroll through the messages, you'll see the bubble background colors will fade through this gradient. And one much requested feature that is still on the way is dark mode, which Facebook says will launch the next several weeks to reduce glare and make nighttime usage easier on the eyes, which I actually do get that. Sometimes in the morning when I, grab my cell phone and that light, blasts in my eyes, I'm just like, it kind of hurts. Because I'm just like, well, I just woke up in darkness. So I'm actually kind of looking forward to that feature. I think that's a very good feature. And maybe my phone has one, I just don't know. Again, I'm not entirely tech savvy. But, and finally, it'll have a new, softer logo. The sharp edges have been rounded off the quote bubble and lightning insignia, and it seems designed to better compete with Snapchat and remind users that Messenger is fun and friendly as well as fast. So, I agree. It's pretty simple to use once you get the hang of it. It's kind of, I guess, a good way to talk to people on Facebook where you don't have to get their numbers or things like that. So it can be impersonal, or it can be personal. It's a good way to get in contact with people maybe you haven't seen in a long time, see how they're doing, maybe start socialization. And it's a good way to just talk to people that again, you may not know that well outside of Facebook, but maybe it can open the door for that to change, right? So, I had I'm going to circle around back to I haven't really had any problems with it in a long time, and probably a couple of years. I just haven't, I haven't had thought, man, the the logo looks too sharp, and I just, that hasn't crossed my mind. The gradients aren't wonderful. It hasn't really crossed my mind either. I just like these things that they're doing with it. I'm like, okay, I can see why they're doing them, and maybe it's to please all the users, which it does say there's 1.3 billion people who use it. So maybe there are other people. A good chunk of those people have had big problems with Messenger lately. Maybe that's why they went, okay, we hear your, concerns, and we'll take care of them. Because Facebook, I will say this, they're really good with that. They want to make sure, hey, they stay user-friendly, they stay simple, they stay fun, they stay, this great thing. And if they don't listen to to concerns of their users, I guess that could be a bad thing. So, when I heard this one, I was like, oh, okay, I don't really understand why they're doing that, but I'm guessing there's some reason. They're not going to do it just because, we're bored. We have nothing to do. So, what we should do? We should just, redesign Facebook Messenger. We should add, new tweaks and twists and turns to it and make it, new. I mean, I don't see Facebook engineers thinking that. I think that if they're going to do some of this, there's going to be a good reason to do it. And, and it sounds like, it's not something like everything hasn't rolled out now everywhere because, again, like I said in a previous episode, Facebook is a very big company. They just are. They're very, very big. They're not a small itty-bitty little company. No. So they reach a lot of people around the world. And it'd be great if, hey, just, ta-da, everybody gets everything immediately. But that's not the way it works, sadly. So, so they're doing this, and I guess they're trying to make it easier on the eyes, a little bit simpler for some people to use. I'm not sure what age groups, if it's younger people or older people they're making that for, but I am looking forward to the dark mode because, it is not fun when you're you just wake up from sleep or a nap or something and you look at your phone, your eyes go, at least my eyes go into shock from going, why is it so bright all of a sudden? What happened? What in the heck? That hurt. It definitely makes you, wakes you up. That's you're it's what? This better be important. You woke me up from sleep and then you realize, oh, okay. So it's a dark mode I think would be great for the eyes. Absolutely. Cause for me, it's not easier on the eyes. Not so much. And, I'm kind of one of those people where I don't necessarily like change either, but if it's not noticeable change, it's not whoa, why did they change everything? Then I'm okay with it. The last time I really had a problem with any of Facebook's updates was because I kind of liked how the older Facebook was 5-10 years ago. Again, giving my age. And they came out with a new update and just eventually hey, you know what? Everybody gets the update. You don't want the update? Too bad. You get the update, and everything got changed. And I was well, I knew how everything used to work. Now I don't know how anything works. So I don't like that where you can tell, hey, things have changed. Things are different. This is not, the way I did things even a few days or a week ago. So what the heck? But, like I said, if it's not noticeable, I can't really complain about it much. I can't really moan, hey, why'd you change this or that? Or why'd you do this or that? If I don't recognize it. And until I read this, if I hadn't read this, let's put it that way, if I had not read this article, I would not have known that, they're doing something new with Messenger. I just wouldn't have known. So it definitely opened my eyes to, okay, that's happening. Interesting. I do use that, and I'm sure, like I said, a lot of people do. So, this is something that started now, and in the next couple of weeks, keep your eyes open. There may be a few changes here and there, but like this article says, they do their job right. You're not going to notice. You're not going to be like, hey, I liked this. Why is that gone? So that's, I think, interestingly enough, a good way to do things, where it's not going to be a shock to the system. It's going to be okay, that's a little different, but that's okay because I can still do what I want to do, right? It'd be like if I had a video game system okay, we're going to change it in every single way of the word, but I don't want it to change every single way of the word. So that's the best analogy I can think of for it. So this is coming up. Keep an eye out for this. And it's just going to make it, they just want to make it more user-friendly and simpler. And Facebook, bring that dark mode because, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So we're going to take ourselves a short little break, and we'll be back with more tech news in a moment.
Do you want to be healthier, yet you just don't know what to do? All these shows telling you this and that, but nothing seems to work. Well, listen close. Golden State Media Concepts has got something great for you. The Health and Wellness Podcast dedicated to workout trends, healthy eating habits, diet, and everything about healthy living. Join us in our banters as we help you not just live life to the fullest, but live it to the healthiest.
Hey there, everybody. This is Jay, back for some more technology news. So, this next article really intrigued me. It was probably one of the first articles where I'm like, oh, that's very interesting. And there was actually a little video I saw that really explained what it was saying, because I'll admit I was like, oh, okay, it does this, cool. I don't understand that. I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how it does it. Okay, I totally understand better now. So, drones. Drones are something that, are kind of like, becoming a bit more commonplace. They're not at the level of Ready Player One, the movie, not the book. They're not at that level, but I wouldn't just call them a simple little toy. I don't know if you could say that. There's probably smaller ones that kids could have that maybe, but I don't know if I would personally call them just like a little toy. I think they kind of are starting to maybe come up with some other applications for them, I think is what's happening. So, they're trying to find ways, hey, how can we help them, have them do this or do that, like maybe make other people's jobs easier and just like the applications for them. So there's a company that found an application for one, and it's really interesting especially because it doesn't look like your average drone. It's not like, hey, fly up 100, 200, 300 feet in the air and take video of stuff. No. So so it says this. It starts with it's a tiny drone that can pull 40 times its own weight, which is an interesting thing in itself, because most drones just can't do that. They can't lift more than, I think, like the video said, like maybe 5 or 10 times its weight, maybe around that number. So this can already do a lot more than other drones. So this one pretty much says, they want to find a way for drones to start, get pretty good at hauling stuff around, right? And of course it says, usually for most drones, it's hard to do that while you're up in the air. So, these drones don't go up in the air. These drones brace themselves against the ground to get the requisite torque needed to lift something or to haul something away, right? So, these drones were created by engineers at Stanford and Switzerland's EPFL. And they actually inspired them by wasps and spiders that need to drag prey from place to place, but they can't actually lift it, so they'll drag it instead. They say grippy feet and like strong threads or jaws let these little drones pull objects many times their weight along the ground, just as you might slide a dresser along rather than pick it up and put it down again. Yeah, which makes perfect sense, because usually dressers are heavy as heck, and not easy to do that. So, yeah, it's almost like putting on like a dolly or something. So they pretty much came up with these called Fly-Crow tugs, a combination of flying, micro, and tug, presumably. And they act like ordinary tiny drones while they're in the air, but, they're able to move freely about and land wherever they need to. But they also have 3 critical components that most drones don't have: an anchor to attach to objects, a winch to pull on that anchor, and sticky feet to provide sure grip while doing so. The idea is that one or several of these 100-gram drones could attach their anchors to something they need to move, be it a lever or a piece of trash. Then they take off and land nearby, spooling out the thread as they do so. Once they're back on terra firma, they activate their winches, pulling the object along the ground, or up over obstacles that would have been impossible to navigate with tiny wheels or feet. So, using this technique, assuming they can get a grip on whatever surface they land on, Like I said, the drones are capable of moving objects 40 times their weight. So for a 100-gram drone like that, it could be about 4 kilograms or nearly 9 pounds. Not a whole lot of weight, but it's not a bad start. It really isn't. But, that may not always be a necessity. So, what if a handful of these things flew around the house when you were gone, picking up bits of trash or moving mail into piles? They would have hours to do it. So this is, and I guess I actually got to watch a little video of this and actually see one of these things in action. So what they showed it doing was attaching onto landing on a table, almost like claws, into the felt on the table. And they had the little, like a hook type thing, was attached to an object, and there was literally string just attached to the back of it. And it just pulled the object, with the claw on the string up to where, to the drone itself. And it's not really big. It's a small little, drone. It's not your average, bigger, expensive drones. It's not. It's a little itty-bitty drone, and heck, when I saw it, I was like, this thing just looks weird. It looks weird. It looks cheap. It looks strange. I don't even see why I would want to buy this thing. But seeing it in action, you're like, okay, I'm a bit more convinced. This is kind of cool what it can do. It doesn't have to necessarily look pretty or fancy or anything like that, but it definitely does what they say it's going to do, And it's kind of a new thing for drones. Because like I said, I don't think mini drones, I don't believe any drones before this probably had this capability, right? And it's definitely an interesting, intriguing story. When it comes to drones themselves, I think it's hard to say if they're going to, because if you haven't seen the Ready Player One movie, they show drones around a lot more. They show where drones, can actually deliver pizza to people. We're talking for big, Pizza Hut pizzas. We see them in one scene, drop all these bombs on this building, so they can be used for nefarious purposes and for, practical purposes in this movie. They show that. And Steven Spielberg said he wanted to do that because he does see that, drones could be, a big thing in the future. And who knows? Maybe he's right. Maybe one day you could be in an operating room and, instead of having nurses, there'd just be drones handing you the different, tools you needed, right? The different things you need for surgery. So there could be applications for it there. But right now, I think it's mostly just a cool novelty. But I may be wrong, because again, I'm not a drone aficionado. I'm not someone who owns a drone. I don't know many people who own drones. And I just personally haven't, used drones much. So I don't know a lot about them. But something like this, I think it's kind of a cool new feature for them. It'd be if you eventually had them have little legs and they could just kind of and they showed how the wasp looked and how they kind of took ideas from that insect, and it's one of those insects that can lift more of their weight. It's not or drag their weight. It's not like an ant who can lift, however much they can. But so yeah, it was a short little video. It was only 1 or 2 minutes long, but it was pretty informative. I was after the video, I was like, all right, that was kind of cool. You got to hear one of the researchers, who talked about, the little, and they showed it in action. And yeah, it was definitely okay, this is kind of cooler than I thought it was going to be. The video definitely helped. So whoever decided to add the video, bravo, I say. Because seriously, I wasn't that interested before I saw the video. But when I saw that thing in action, I was like, oh, right. That's kind of cool. I'm not saying I'm going to go buy it and, put it under the Christmas tree, but that's pretty cool. But it was clear that, they were just showing, hey, this is some things we know it can do for now, and they're still going to probably work on other things and fine-tuning it so it, is a better product. And I don't know if it's going to go out to the general public or if it's going to be just for people who, they even showed where it could help open doors to them, which was really kind of cool. So they show some cool new ideas they have that drones could do, and I think that it's kind of an interesting, concept. It's an interesting idea that, hey, let's have drones do more than just fly around and take video and, just do that. Let's add new modes to the mix. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's definitely curious, and a number of things on here. If I hear about more cool drone things going on, I'll definitely be sure to bring it to future episodes. That's for sure, because it's definitely something that is slowly getting a bit bigger, and I think that stuff like this could make more people interested in getting them. So yeah, absolutely. So we're about to take our another break, and we'll be back in a few moments with more tech news.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey there, everybody. This is Jay, back for some more really cool technology news for you. So, again, this is the part of the show where we bring out some really cool video game news. And this is one that I have not played all the games in this series, but I've played most of them, and it had an interesting history. So, in the days of, I want to say, either the Nintendo DS, it was probably in the days of the Nintendo DS, which was a handheld that I don't know if it was extremely popular at the time. It wasn't really like how the 3DS and the 2DS now. Nintendo decided, you know what, let's kind of do a revamped version of the Super Mario Brothers game, right? Because the original Super Mario Brothers game, came out, I want to say in 83, 84, 85. And, it spawned a lot of Super Mario games since then. It has. And so they decided to bring out a new game. They called it just New Super Mario Brothers. And, it added, new challenges, new modes, and just kind of was a revamped version of the game. And it turns out, probably to their surprise, it did really well. Fans really, really enjoyed this game. They really had a lot of fun playing it. They were really excited about it. And I heard it was a really, really good game. So, naturally, when that happens, Nintendo decided, what we should do? We should do a console version. And this is not the first time Nintendo did this, and I'm sure it won't be the last time they do this. So, they said, let's do a console version of this game. And the first one was called New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii. New Super Mario Brothers Wii, I think is what it was called. And I actually got a chance to play this game. And, man, it was a really challenging game. It was a lot of fun, though. It was actually a total of 4 players could play. And you had Mario, Luigi, and 2 Toads. You went through all these different levels, all these different boss battles, all these different dungeons, and it really, just turned the series on its head in ways that it hadn't been turned in a while. Now, I didn't get to play this game through fully. I just didn't get to. I wasn't, that lucky, but I got to at least get a feel and went, man, this is a really fun Mario game. And because, for me, playing the original Mario, it was kind of a challenging, pain-in-the-butt game. It was a fun game, but it was kind of a pain in the butt. And Mario 2 was the same way. Super Mario Brothers 2, and 3 was the game that really, really was a lot of fun. I actually beat. It was years later when I beat it, but I did beat it. So, anyway, so they did this game. It did really, really well. They did a handheld, I want to say a few years later, called New Super Mario Brothers 2 that I did get to play, and I did finally beat. And again, another really fun game. It had some cool new power-ups, I think they had the white Tanuki suit. They had the gold flower that could turn things to coins. So there were some really cool new power-ups there. There were some really challenging boss battles. It was just a really, really fun game. It really was. I would highly recommend it. And so then I want to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, this may have been around the time that they said, hey, let's do New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U. And unlike New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U one was when the console came out, that was one of the first games. And they had, for a while, this game came with the console. And this is a game I did get to play, where I did go all the way through all the levels, all the bosses. I got all the star coins, as difficult as that was. Went through some really, really challenging levels. But I had so much fun playing this game. Now, I did not get to play New Super Luigi Brothers, which is just another mode with more levels. And frankly, after I beat all the levels on New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U, I was like, you know what? I'm good for now. But it was a very, very fun game. So, that being said, they have decided to come out next year, which I want to say it's in January. They're doing another Mario Brothers game. Yes, and this is going to be called New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe. So it's going to be, in a nutshell, it's going to be, of course, 2 games in one. It's going to have New Super Mario Brothers and New Super Luigi Brothers. They're both going to be in there, both of the U versions. They're going to have new playable characters that are for younger and less experienced players. Of course, there's going to be a wealth of new bonus content. Like there's going to be like a hints gallery, and they say helpful reference videos, which is really, really cool, I think. I'm really excited for that. And let's see here. Yeah, there's going to be a total of 164 platforming courses in 2 main game modes. There's going to be replayability. There's new game modes like challenges, boost rush, and coin battle. There are a variety of playable characters in this, so it's not just, Mario, Luigi, and the 2 Toads. I believe this is actually the first game where Toadette comes in. And they showed in a video, and this brought on a whole Bowsette thing, but we won't get into that, where you could get like a crown and it'd turn Toadette into Princess Peach, which was really cool. And when that happened, she had, like, in the previous game, she could float a little bit, which was really cool. So Toadette's going to have that in this, and then Nabbit, who is normally only playable New Super Luigi Bros. U. And they'll offer the characters, extra assistance during gameplay. There's going to be multiplayer sessions, of course, and they have where you can, jump a teammate's head or try to have one throw at you to try to get to certain places. Yeah, like I said, there's going to be hints gallery, reference videos, and a super guide, that can complete levels for you if they're giving you too much trouble. So there's going to be that. And, yeah, so it's going to be like just this really big game. It's going to be the next game in the series. And, I'm looking forward to it because I've played the previous Mario Bros. Games, okay? I have. And I really enjoyed them. I'm like, it just was because sometimes some Nintendo games get they get caught into being too easy. And New Super Mario Brothers for the Wii U and New Super Mario Brothers 2 are not those kinds of games. No, they're games that, guess what? You're gonna die a lot sometimes. You're gonna have a hard time getting through some levels. You're gonna have a hard time trying to collect all the star coins. You're gonna have difficulty doing these things. It's not gonna just come easy. They had New Super Mario Brothers 2 where if you got a certain suit, you could go through the level and you weren't going to really necessarily get hurt, and it was nice, and it didn't kick into unless you got killed 5 or 10 times. So it sounds like maybe they'll have something like that in this game, which I think is a good idea because, like I said, sometimes some of these levels, some of these boss battles, some of these dungeons, they're not easy. I remember a dungeon in Super Mario Brothers 2 where you have pretty much fire coming in all directions except one little spot. You're like, geez, you're going to die a lot in this area. So, it's it'll be nice to have that for players who may not be as experienced and those who just, may get frustrated easily. And I'm kind of looking for this too because I might want to actually try the new Super Luigi Bros. One because, like I said, I didn't try it in the past. And it was a DLC on the Wii U. So it coming with this not DLC, I think is great. I think it's a great idea. So this game is going to be able to have up to 4 players, at one time, and it is going to come to the Nintendo Switch January 11th, 2019. So it's going to be here in a number of months, and I'd highly recommend you getting it. If you have played the games in the past, it'd be worth it. If you haven't played the games in the past, then that is absolutely worth it. So yeah, I think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm excited for it, and it is for everyone. It's rated E for everyone, so like all ages can play it. From young to old. So that's all the news we have for you for this episode. I hope you had a lot of fun, as much fun as I did, telling them to you. And have yourself a wonderful rest of the day, and we'll be back real soon with more tech news.